Today we're going to do a declutter of my primers and my foundations. I am going to start a little declutter series here on my channel because I have a lot of makeup. I do YouTube, and also, to be fair with you, regardless of whether I did YouTube, I would have a lot of makeup. It is just honestly the joy of my life. I love it so much, and I love trying new makeup. I love trying new formulas. It's really intriguing to me to try different brands and see their take on different products. But I do like to keep my collection to a medium to medium large size. I don't want it to be overly excessive. I like to kind of really know each piece that I own and know that I can really get my use out of it. I also don't like to keep any products around that I know that I'm not going to use because I don't love them for one reason or another, or they're just not my style right now, and I really like to rehome those products so that someone else can really get the use and love out of them that they deserve. Normally I would film this as like a vlog style and go through my collection, but I've decided to do this as the desktop style because I really want to kind of like swatch each piece and like sit on it for a minute and just kind of actually take the time to decide whether or not I truly want to keep something in my collection or not. So you are going to see my entire collection over these videos. You're going to see all of the primers I own and what I declutter, all of the foundations that I own and what I declutter, and so on and so forth. But it is going to be desk style, and then at the end of the declutter series I will do a beauty room tour and show you how I store my makeup and kind of keep it all together in my organization system. And also kind of on that video of the beauty room tour, I'm going to talk to you guys about how I kind of go through using each one of my makeup products to actually try and use them up. I have had that request before from you guys. So today is primers and foundations. Let's go ahead and get into the desk format and start decluttering. Before we do, you know the deal. Let's go ahead and do the YouTubey things. Go ahead and give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and let's get into it. This is the container that I keep all of my primers in. It's quite a large collection considering 2 years ago I started on literally zero. I never used to use primer at all until I actually discovered this one right here, and it really reignited my love of primers, and I have been testing out different primers ever since. So we're going to go through and decide if we need all of these primers still or if we should get rid of some. These are all of the primers themselves out of the container. Now I am going to go ahead and remove the products that are skincare because there is some skincare in here. I'm just going to make sure that I actually want each of these skincare products first. So first up I have 2 of the Drunk Elephant Marula oils, and I will keep these because quite often I mix these in with foundations. I also have this Milky Dress Wrinkle and Whitening Eye Cream. I don't know why it's whitening. I think that's a Korean skincare term, but I am going to go ahead and keep this. I like to just keep it on hand if needed. I do have this Charlotte Tilbury Little Mini Magic Cream, and I'm actually going to declutter this and give it to my mum because it has fragrance in it and it does break me out. Lastly, I have this Bobbi Brown Vitamin Enriched Eye Base, and I really like this. I don't use it too much, but I do like to keep it on hand for those days where I need extra hydration under the eyes. Before we start the actual physical declutter, I did want to count how many primers I'm starting with. So I am starting with 17 primers, which is really surprising to me. I didn't think I had that many. So let's see how many we declutter from 17. First up, we have this little mini size of the Benefit Professional that they sent me. I do quite like this primer. I use it every so often. I do prefer the Tarte one, but I do still use this, so I'm going to keep it. I have this little Rare Beauty Always an Optimist primer. It's the pore diffusing one. I picked this up with my Sephora rewards point. I do kind of like it, but I am going to declutter it. I didn't realize it had fragrance in it and it does break me out. Next up I have this MAC Studio Radiance Moisturizing and Illuminating Silky Primer. This is just a little tester I got in a Mecca Beauty Loop box, and I haven't actually checked the ingredients of this particular primer yet because I just got it in the Mecca Beauty Loop box. So I'm going to keep this. I'll check the ingredients, but if there is anything in there that will irritate my skin, I will declutter it. Next up we have the Danessa Myricks Yummy Skin blurring balm in the shade Universal. This is this kind of powder balm. I don't use this as a powder. I have not been able to get it to work for me, but I do really like this as a primer pre-foundation, especially in summertime. It really kind of keeps my oils at bay for my combination skin. I haven't been using it a whole lot at the moment because it's winter here and my skin doesn't need it, but during summertime this is a great product, so I'm definitely keeping. I have two of my Tarte Pore smoothing primers, and as you can see I've nearly gone through this one, and the other one is a backup. This is hands down the best pore filling primer I have ever used. I love it, and it is definitely staying. My beautiful friend Nicole sent me this particular pore filling primer. It's the L'Oreal Base Magique Transforming Smooth Primer. I have not actually tried this primer as of yet because I'm still going through my Tarte one, so I'm going to keep this in my collection to try for when the Tarte one's finished. The Rose Ink Skin Enhanced Luminous Tinted Serum. This is in the shade 040. You guys absolutely know I love this product. You see it so often in my videos. It's very similar to the Chanel Le Beige Water Fresh tint, not to be confused with the Complexion Touch, and I really like this, and absolutely it is staying. This is the Cover FX Gripping Primer, an old school holy grail. I still remember when this was completely sold out everywhere. I got this on Beauty Bay on sale last year, and I really like this. It is very gripping, even more so than the Milk Hydro Grip. So if you're looking for more grip, you'll like it. I don't use this with every foundation. It works a lot better when you are going for that medium to full coverage type look, but I still really like this. The Pat McGrath Labs Skin Fetish Sublime Perfection Primer. I talked about this in my recent Pat McGrath Labs brand overview video. This primer will sneak up on you. When you very first try it, you kind of think that it is nothing special, you've wasted your money, and what's the big deal about it? But as you use it more and more, you really start to realize that it does make your skin and your foundation look truly flawless. It is actually an incredibly beautiful primer. However, unfortunately, it has coconut in it, and it does cause me to have acne. So I can use this as a once-off every so often, and it's pat, and I like to have it in my collection for my pat videos, as I do a lot of them, but I can't use it a whole lot, so I'm not getting rid of it just because I'm sensitive to the coconut. Outside of that, I truly love this. The Liquid Tatcha Silk Canvas Primer. This is a nice primer. It's not memorable for me, if I'm being completely honest with you guys. It is lovely, and I do quite like it, and in winter I get a lot more use out of it because I do find in the summertime it does make my T-zone a lot oilier. Potentially trying it with a Danessa Myricks will help that. But yeah, I like it, and I'm going to keep it around because it was so expensive, but it's not my go-to. This is the Laura Mercier Blurring Primer, and it doesn't have any silicone in it, so it's not as blurring as the Tarte one or the Benefit Professional, but I still quite like this, and it does kind of keep my oils at bay through my T-zone, so I'm going to keep it. I still have not tried this NYX Marshmallow Primer. Ulta Beauty gave this to me when I went shopping over there in the US recently. It was part of like their free gifts. I just need to double check the ingredients still of this particular primer, and if its ingredients are friendly with my skin, I'll keep it. If not, I will declutter it. Down to the last four. If you saw my Danessa Myricks Yummy Skin review, you know that I really dislike this glow serum. This is the Yummy Skin Glow Serum in the shade Main Squeeze. The biggest thing that really upset me about this primer is that, and again, it is a little bit my fault because normally I always check ingredients list before I purchase anything because my skin is so sensitive to ingredients. However, this was advertised as being sensitive skin friendly, and then I picked it up and it has the strongest fragrance in it. It's definitely really high up on the list. I can like smell it from here and my hands down like quite low from my face. So this particular primer gives me severe acne because it's got fragrance in it, but also I just didn't like the way that this performed on my skin outside of that. It's a serum and it's a glow serum, but yet managed to make my skin look dry, which is quite unique. So this one I am definitely going to declutter. Next up is my Stila One Step Correct. I wanted this primer for so long. I picked this up, I think in 2020 in Black Friday sales, and I wanted it for the longest time, and I really do quite like it. It neutralizes the color on my skin quite well, and it's beautiful and hydrating. I genuinely like this primer. However, this has ingredients in it, I believe, that break me out. Whenever I use it, I do tend to get breakouts. So I'm going to double check the ingredients list, and if I'm correct, I'm going to declutter it, as I think I have a friend that will like this. But if the ingredient list is me friendly, then I'm going to keep trying it and see if it actually is this that was breaking me out or if it was something else. But I do really like this primer. Milk Hydro Grip, you absolutely know this is not going anywhere. This is one of my all-time favorite primers. I love using this with a medium to full coverage foundation. I truly think that this makes a difference. It's hydrating, it grips the foundation to your skin, and it definitely extends the wear time of my foundation. For me, this primer and my skin, they are friends and they get along really well. Last but not least is the LYS Secure Skin Gripping Serum Primer with 5% niacinamide and AHA. I just like this primer immensely. It just makes any foundation I put on top of it look horrible. And I've got foundations that I know not like always look amazing, and whenever I've used this primer with them and like use the primer with the foundation that I know I love, it just turns horribly. I don't know what it is about this primer, but for my skin in particular, it hates it. It hates it. So I'm definitely going to be decluttering this one. So that is all of the primers. Let's go ahead and count how many we are decluttering. So we're really not decluttering that many, and this one is a maybe once I check the ingredients list. This one doesn't even count in the count list. This is skincare. So really we're only getting rid of 4, potentially 3 primers. And that leaves us with a remaining 14 primers, which does seem like a lot. A couple of these are backups, but also I know that I will go through most of these. This is my current foundation collection. It is a lot. So let me go ahead and count these out and see how many we have. I can't actually fit them all on the screen, so we're going to have to do these in sections, but in total, all of the foundations that I have, the number equals 32, which is a very large number, but I incredibly love foundations, so that doesn't surprise me. Okay, let's start with this end over here this time. This is my RCMA makeup palette. It is the VK11, and it's basically just a palette that has all of the kind of cream shades in it that I could need. I like to use this. I think it looks really lovely on my skin, and I love being able to mix and match my foundations, especially when I have a tan or my skin color is slightly different. And I also like to use these shades as contours and concealers, so this is definitely staying. This is the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Foundation. This is in the shade 3. It's a little bit too dark for me. It's also a little bit too matte for me. It's really not my favorite foundation. I keep it around because it was so expensive, and it's Charlotte Tilbury, and I like to have it in my collection for a reference point and for videos. And also if I mix it with a moisturizer or a more hydrating foundation or a face oil, it does actually kind of look quite lovely. So I am going to keep this one around, but it's not my all-time fave. This is the L'Oreal True Match foundation in the shade 2N, and I absolutely adore this. This is currently my makeup I want to use up pile, only because it is actually nearly finished. If you could feel the bottle, it's pretty much got nearly nothing left in it, but I will repurchase this. It is impeccable. This is the Dior Air Flash in the shade 2N, and it is like an Oompa Loompa on me. Proper Oompa Loompa. Like, look how orange that is. In saying that, this foundation is such a beautiful foundation. Well, actually, it looks like it matches on camera there, but this foundation is a beautiful foundation. Really beautiful. However, this was before I realized what ingredients were causing me to break out. And unfortunately, this has a lot of coconut in it, so it does give me acne. I'm actually going to give this to my mum because she is going to love it. This is the Zoeva Authentic Skin Foundation in the shade 50N. It is a beautiful foundation. You guys have seen me use this a lot in my videos. It's currently in my makeup I would like to use up pile because it is a couple of years old, but also I don't know if you can even see it down the bottom there. We are nearing its end date. It's nearly completely used up, and I think it's discontinued, which is truly a shame This looks amazing on my skin. The Bare Minerals Bare Pro Foundation. This is in the shade 9 Natural. I do really like this. However, I've started to notice that this is oxidizing on my skin. So I'm not sure if it's because it's past its expiry date a little bit, or if it's just that that's the foundation and I've never noticed it before. I do love the way that this looks on my skin. And normally this is my holy grail foundation. However, since other foundations have come into my collection, this has really been dethroned. So it's also in my makeup I want to use pile because it is almost finished, but I don't think I'm going to repurchase it this time. This is the YSL All Hours Matte Foundation in the shade B30. It is too dark for me, and actually I think this one is almost nearly completely done. Maybe I'll add it into my makeup I want to use pile. So I think it only has maybe 3 or 4 uses left in it. And it's a very beautiful foundation, and it's one of those foundations that you kind of think, because it's matte, it might not look that good, at least for my skin type, but whenever I use it again, I remember why I love it so much. So I am going to move this to my makeup I want to use up pile, and I'm going to give this a good crack, especially because I'm wearing a fake tan right now. It's gonna work for me. This is the Huda Beauty Faux Filter Luminous Matte Foundation. This is in the shade 220 and Custard, and it is too dark for me. So again, great for when I have a tan on. I don't crazy love this foundation. Look how dark that is. I find Huda's shade ranges quite hard to pick. It's a bit dark and a bit orangey looking on me. In fact, this looks like it's turned a little bit, but we'll see how it goes. I'm going to keep this around. It's still pretty new in my collection. I say new, it's probably over a year old, but anyway. I do like to mix this with moisturizer when I have a fake tan, and I kind of use it as a more lighter coverage foundation. So I'm going to keep it around for that purpose. I do appreciate that Huda listens to her consumers though, and she got rid of the fragrance in that foundation. The Pure 4-in-1 Love Your Selfie Foundation in the shade LN6. A shade too dark for me without a tan, but perfect for when I have a tan. I love that it has the doe foot applicator here. I really like this foundation. This is a great summer foundation for me because it is a little bit matte leaning on the skin, but I really like this. It's very pore smoothing, very perfecting on the skin. It's full coverage, and it's really long wearing, so I am definitely keeping this. I really love it. This is the Oma Beauty by Sharon C Flawless in Real Life Skin Perfecting Foundation in the shade Fair Lady T2. I got this from Walmart when I went over to America recently, and it is beautiful. If you're looking for a lighter, more hydrating version of the Oma Beauty Say What foundation, this is the one that you want to get. It's really a lovely every single day foundation. Definitely not going anywhere. My NARS Light Reflecting Foundation in the shade Mont Blanc. Truly my favorite foundation. I love this. It was the foundation I wore on my wedding day. It's 100% not going anywhere, and I think you can even see it doesn't have a whole lot of product left in that bottle. This is the NARS Can't Stop Won't Stop Full Coverage Foundation. If you have oily skin, and I mean oily skin, this is the foundation that you need to get your hands on. This is in the shade Nude, and it's quite a nice shade match for me. This is a good foundation. This might actually be empty. I think this might be empty. I can't swatch it, sorry. But this is a brilliant foundation if you have oily skin. A couple of years ago I had super oily skin, and I wore this every day, and I can tell you, when I was working like 12-14 hour days, my makeup would look exactly the same as when I put it in the morning to night because of how matte this foundation is. So definitely not for anyone other than proper oily skinned people, but it is a great product. And I am actually going to declutter this one because I no longer need it, but I think it's empty, so I'm going to double check before I just give it to someone. Now we're moving on to the next lot. This is the next lot of foundations, and let's start from this end. This time I have two of the KBD Good Apple foundations in the shade 12. This is a backup, and then this is my current one. I freaking love this foundation. You can see I only purchased this in April and I've already hit pan. This is one of the best foundations of all time. If you want coverage, this is the foundation you want. And my Australians, you can get this on feelunique.com. I will link it down below if I remember for you guys, okay? It is so good. This is the Misha Cushion foundation in the shade number 23. It's a lovely kind of just everyday kind of cushion type foundation, that Korean skincare, very lightweight. It's a little bit too, the shade looks a little bit off for me actually, and I never reach for it, so I am actually going to declutter this. This one is not going anywhere. It's one of my all-time favorites. It's the Oma Beauty Say What foundation in T2N Fair Lady, and I adore it. This is the RCMA makeup foundation in the shade N130, and I have really tried to get this foundation to work for me, and I wasn't thinking I would declutter it, but I actually think I'm going to, because I never reach for it, and I'm not going to. It really doesn't look great on my skin. It really doesn't. It's just heavy looking. It's so matte. It settles in texture. It just makes me look a little bit older. And yeah, I need to let it go and give it to someone that's gonna really adore this, because it's just not for me. This is the Revlon Candid Foundation in 220, a beautiful foundation. I actually really quite like this. This I have had for over 2 years now, and I am going to actually declutter it, because even though I really like it, one, I suspect it breaks me out. Whenever I would wear this, I always got breakouts, and two, it's actually really old and it needs to go. One of my new holy grails, I adore this product so much. This is the Chanel Le Beige Complexion Touch in the shade B10, perfect shade match for me. I love this product so much. It is incredible. I have a review of this product up on my channel if you're interested, but I just think it's so worth the money. I really do. I love it. Tower 28 Sunny Days Tinted. It says it is called a broad spectrum SPF tinted sunscreen. This is in the shade Melrose. It's a foundation. You can build this up to be a solid medium to full coverage, honestly. I love this. It is so dewy. If you do not want a dewy product on the skin, don't even bother. You won't like it. Or if you have oily skin, I don't think you'd like this. I love it, especially on like vacation or in summer. This is such a good product. The LYS Triple Fix Serum Foundation in the shade MN1. I've gone backwards and forwards with this foundation, and I just recently used it in a makeup products I forgot about video. It should already be up on my channel. And the problem that I have with this foundation is that when I initially put this on my skin, it looks lovely, and then within the hour it just turns and it settles in pores, it settles in fine lines, it starts wearing away to nothing, and it just makes me look old and haggard. And I'm just gonna give this away, because even though I feel like that on my skin, I actually have a friend that I think this is gonna be right up her alley in the terms of she likes that more no makeup look. This is another one of the L'Oreal True Matches. This is in 4N. It's way too dark for me. I actually keep this around for when foundations are too light for me, and I just add a little bit in. This kind of formula doesn't mess with other foundation formulas too much, so I like to use it as like a mixer for when I'm wearing a tan, or if I accidentally get a shade that's too light, which is quite often. This is the Lisa Eldridge Seamless Skin Foundation in the shade 5. This is actually a foundation that's a little bit too light for me, but I can make it work, and I have gone through a journey with this foundation. Oh my lord, I tried for so long to make this foundation work for me. So many people love it, and it just would not work for me no matter what I did, until I got the BK Beauty brushes, and I used the BK Beauty 101 foundation brush to apply this, and then I set it with a pressed powder using the BK 105 brush, and I don't know why, but it makes this foundation look flawless on me. So I have now turned a corner with it, and I now really adore it. So I can't, I do need to apply it a certain way, and you shouldn't have to for a product this expensive, but I already purchased it and I am very happy I found a way to make it work for me. The Danessa Myricks Yummy Skin Serum Foundation in 4N. I dislike this immensely. I will say it didn't look as bad on my skin as what other foundations have. The shade is too light for me. Her shade range is quite hard to pick, I do find, but it just, I don't know, it just didn't look great on my skin. I didn't super love it, and the fragrance is so intense, and I can't have products with fragrance in it. That's my fault. I didn't check the ingredients list before I purchased it, but it just breaks me out, and I just don't super love the product itself. People got very offended that I didn't like this foundation. One person commented and said, it's because you're not a runway model that this doesn't look good on you, and they meant it in like a insult to me, not as like a don't worry, unless you're a model this will look good. And I was like, so she's creating her entire product for specifically runway models? That doesn't make sense to me. But I will give the person, they made me laugh out loud from reading their comments, so that's something. Anyway, I'm decluttering. This is the Pat McGrath Skin Finish Sublime Perfection Foundation in the shade Light 4. I recently went over this in my Pat McGrath Labs brand overview video. I really like this. Another foundation where you kind of put it on and you're like, well, what's all the hype about? Then the more and more you wear it, you realize just how beautiful this foundation is. It has coconut in it. It breaks me out. It's devastating. I can wear it for those one-off occasions or to dinner. I just can't wear it consistently every day, otherwise it gives me acne, but I love it and it's not going anywhere. The Rare Beauty foundation. This is a tough one for me. This is in the shade 130N and it's definitely too light for me, like way too light. But I go through phases with this. I do like mixing this in with more matte foundations. It really does kind of turn those foundations that are way too matte on the skin into a lovely product. But it's too light for me, and I would never wear this on its own. It's kind of a foundation that doesn't agree with my skin type. So I don't know whether to keep this or not. This is going in a maybe pile for now. The One Size Triple B Turn Up the Base Blurring Cream. This is in the shade Fair 1N, and I find this is actually the closest dupe I can think of for this particular product is actually the Lisa Aldridge foundation. It's a lot heavier feeling than that. It's more of a mousse type feeling, but it's not bad. I wouldn't say it's not the most incredible foundation product ever, but it's also not the worst. So I'm not going to declutter it just yet because it is quite new to my collection. These are the last 4 products in my foundation collection. This one is the M Cosmetics Cushion Foundation, and I have the shade Gentle Light. That took me embarrassingly long. It looks really gross. I am nearly finished with this actually I feel like I'm pretty much finished with this actual one. It's not a bad shade for me. It looks a little dark on the hand, but actually blends out to be quite well on the face. And I have a backup. When you purchase this cushion foundation, it comes with a backup. I'm going to keep this. I don't mind it. I actually think it's quite a lovely product for the everyday. This is the Tarte Hydroflex Serum Foundation, in 14N. This is a great product. I really love this. This is the first serum foundation I ever liked, and it's a great product. It looks beautiful on the skin. It's in my makeup I want to use up collection right now because it's almost finished, and I won't repurchase the full size until my foundations have kind of been used through a little bit more. And I'm not sure if I will purchase the full size, to be honest with you, but I do really like this, so I might. The Laura Mercier Tinted Moisturizer in the shade 1 and 2. Gorgeous. Fell in love with this in my, on my trip to America. I just really am surprised by how good this one is. I do need to pick up a lighter shade. It's just way too dark for me. That's the only issue. It's not right now because I do have a fake tan on, but when I don't have a fake tan on, which is most of the time, it is too dark for me. So I want to pick up a lighter shade in this size. I like having the smaller travel sizes for it because it's just a little bit, it's not as wasteful for me personally. I have a lot of product obviously, but I really like this, so it's definitely a keep. And then this last foundation, this is the Wayne Goss The Cream Foundation in shade 9. Another one that's also too dark for me when I don't have a tan, and I just don't know what to do about this. I'm gonna keep it because I just recently picked it up, to be fair. See how dark that is? But I don't love this. I don't. You guys really liked it on me, but it's not what I was expecting. The shade range is also pretty average, which was disappointing. And I know he explained why, but it was still kind of disappointing. But yeah, I don't know. I'm going to keep it and test it out a bit more, but I definitely don't look to this one to be like, oh, I really want to use this, but it's just too new to my collection still, so I'm going to keep it for now. I feel like I've done a really good job of decluttering these foundations because these were like overflowing before. Now granted, I do have 5 foundations right now that aren't sitting in this container. They're sitting on my desk in my makeup I want to use collection. I know that's a lot of foundations to have in my makeup I want to use collection, but honestly they don't have much left, so I'm just going to be like, they're going to get used up quickly, and I just like to make sure that I know which ones I'm doing. I also obviously have this one. This kind of sits in a different section. So let's count this. So I am keeping 24 foundations. And I'm getting rid of 8. I think that's pretty good. We've gone from 32 to 24. And 2 of those out of the 24 are backups. And 1 backup is like one that just actually came with the foundation. So I think that's pretty good. I'm happy with that. So for this primer and foundation declutter, these are all of the products that I will be decluttering. A lot of these are going to go to my mum. She's actually going to love a lot of these products. And then I have another friend that a lot of these products are actually going to be right up her alley as well. And then the rest will go to my friend's daughters. I also added the NYX primer in, by the way, because I just don't think I'm going to use this. And the Stiller one, I just need to check the ingredients, but that could also be added to this list. So I think we've done really well for today. What do you guys think? This is the end of today's declutter for my primer and foundations. The next declutter video will be my concealers and my powders and setting sprays, and then so on and so forth from there. Let me know if you have any foundations or primers in your collection that you're eyeing off to declutter. And also, this is my complete collection, so let me know if, based off the products that I chose to stay in my collection or I said I loved, let me know if there's any products that you think I should try that you're like, oh, you're missing out on this. Let me know. I would love to know. Doesn't mean I'm going to run out and purchase it, but I like to add it to my wish list. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much if you're watching till this point. You're an absolute legend. I truly appreciate you so, so much. If you haven't already, pretty please give the video a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. It helps my channel out so much, and I truly appreciate it. And other than that, I hope that you have an amazing day wherever you are in the world, and I will see you next time. Bye!